Okay, cool.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a really exciting live show. I'm joined by none other than Leighton Levy, veteran journalist whose name is synonymous with Jamaican sports media. You probably know him best from his deep coverage of track and field, but trust me, he can talk football, cricket, basketball, just about any sport all day long. Leighton just recently launched his own YouTube channel, Mr. Analyst, and you can find it at the handle at Mr. Analyst, and we'll put it in the description. It's already off to a fantastic start. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go there, subscribe, support his work. And tonight we're going to delve into a number of things around track and field. We're just weeks away from the Tokyo World Championships, and a whirlwind of national championships happened last weekend. The US trials in particular gives us a lot to talk about. But this is a live show, so we will take your questions and comments as well. But before we delve into all of that, Leighton, and thank you for joining me, I want to start with your breaking story, maybe one of your last breaking stories for that outlet on Megan Tapper, her new contract with Adidas. Now, if anyone kind of follows your work, we know that you rate Megan highly, not just as an athlete, but as a competitor, a person. And you two clearly have a little bit of a relationship because that was on full display a month ago or so at the Jamaican National Championships where she ran 20:34. And one of the first things I think she did was to run over and give you a big hug. And I remember messaging you saying you're all over the internet.
Sorry.
And it's like, if I'm not mistaken, you said you had actually predicted that. So, before we get into the Tokyo stuff, what's your thought on her so far, her selection and her season, and particularly this Adidas deal at this stage of her career?
So let me start with the Adidas deal. And first of all, let me say thanks, Dwaine. It's been a while. The last time it's been a couple of years since I've been on a show with you. So the Adidas thing was sometime in coming. If you remember, Megan was signed to Puma a few years back, but she lost that deal primarily because after the Olympics in 2021, where she got the bronze medal and of course became internationally known, she had some struggles. She had injury issues, she had fitness issues, she had the struggles that athletes usually go through when they are not financed. And one of the things that I've always admired about Meg is the fact that she never quits. There was a time when she had some self-doubt, but she never quits. I remember telling her when she won the national when she won the gold medal in Tokyo, I said to her that you have 12.4 in you, right? And she was like, yeah, but you could sense that the belief wasn't quite there yet. Then the next season she runs 12.44 and I think 12.48. And then watching those races, because I was trackside for both of them. Well, both trackside for the one that she ran the national championships.
Right.
And I said to her in our conversations following that you have a 12.3 in you. Again, I don't think she quite believed me, and I don't think she quite believed that she could. And then what has been happening since that time, a lot of people don't really know, is that Meg had employed the services of Dr. Joe Brown. She's she's a New Zealander living in Australia. It's about 5 degrees. She's absolutely incredible. She's a sports psychologist. She's a physiotherapist. She's a mobility specialist. And she started working with Meg a couple of seasons ago and strengthening her in areas where she needed to have been strengthened. And gradually, even when she wasn't running fast, you saw the improvements if you knew what to look for. Because, for example, if you watch Meg race, even when she was at her best in, say, 4 years ago, when she was just getting into the 12.5 zone, Meg would usually get caught at hurdle number 3 or hurdle number 4 and increasingly fall further behind as the race progressed. What you saw eventually was that they were catching her later, and then they weren't catching her at all.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if you saw the race with Akira Nugent joined her at the 3rd hurdle. Remember, Akira was at 12.24 hurdle.
Right.
And she could not pull her away from her. In fact, Meg held her off and ran 12:34, which was pretty impressive in itself. But what was even more impressive was when she went into Europe and ran 12:34 in a minus 1.1.
Yeah, into a headwind. Mm.
Yeah, that's a 12-2 low already. And so I think that if there are no hiccups along the way between now and Tokyo, which is about 6 weeks away from now, I actually believe that she is in the mix for a medal. Dare I say, top of the podium. I mean, look, no. Here's the thing. Masai Russell is in the form of her life. 12:17 this year, 12:25 at the US trials in the Keats, and 12:22 in the finals, and she looks very comfortable. But one of the things that we do know about the sprint hurdles for women is that this is probably the deepest event globally.
It is, yeah.
So on any given day, if you don't come to execute, you could find yourself chasing somebody else to the line and being disappointed. Not that you perform badly, because we saw Grace Stark just a few weeks ago run 12:24, was it? And came second.
Yeah.
You know, so you see, this is where the event is at. And I do believe that Meg is already in 12-2 shape. I think when she continues to work with Dr. Brown, I believe that she'll go into Tokyo very, very confident. And look, when I say top of the podium, this is me being subjective here now. But I do believe that she'll be in the mix. And I think, notwithstanding what Grace Stark or Akira Nugent or Masai Russell or Alicia Johnson or Serena Sambabayela or Kiditaji Kambunji, any of them, if Meg goes into that race ready, they're going to have to run to beat her. She's not going to give it to them. They're going to have to earn it by beating her.
No, I agree with you. And I'll say some responses to that. Shout out to people coming on. I see Anika, Susan. Good evening to you guys as well. I think, it is the deepest field in track and field. I think if you come to the championships in a 12-2 shape, you're putting yourself in the mix, right? And it's tough. Grace Stark 12:21, and sometimes she didn't look so good the last couple of rounds there, races rather. Kambunji coming back into shape. Who knows what you'll get from Toby Amerson, Masai Russell. It's fierce out there for these women. And you mentioned something that we should touch on, like when she lost that Puma contract. I think Megan Tapper is the most unfortunate athlete not to make it into a finals. We saw that in the last two World Championships. Those are the fastest times not to get into a major championship final. This year, that won't necessarily happen because it's 9-lane finals in Tokyo. But I think she has something cooking, and I like it. And I think one of the next thing I like about Megan, because I remember when she pulled out of the Racers Grand Prix, she took some heat and she went onto social media and she explained she ends up at the championships tired and she had to reset her season. And it's paying off. And I like you, I really hope she gets on the podium.
Yeah, look, Meg is a really bright girl. And I say that not to say that other athletes are not bright, but one of the things that I like about her is that she applies her intellect in a way that benefits her progress. She's not going to just say, let's do the same thing over and over again and hope that something happens. She always is willing to try something new, to try a new dynamic that will improve her performances. Because, as you would know, we've seen her come from a 12-8, a 13-0 athlete, to a 12-8 athlete, to a 12-7 athlete, to a 12-5 athlete, and then 12-4, and then gradually go back up to about 12-6s, I think, and then come back down to 12-3s, where she is comfortable now in the fact that she believes she can run this time whenever she steps on the track, as long as she's healthy. And that's a big difference. You see,
and she's a tiny athlete too. Yeah,
she's really tiny. I hear people say she's too short to run fast, and that's one of the reasons why I like. One of the reasons why I like when she did that was that it blew out of the water that myth that she's too short to run fast times. If you look back at some of the greatest athletes in the hurdles, they're not tall.
Right.
Gail Devers is not tall. What's her name from the girl from Africa that had the world record for a while? She was not tall either.
Yeah, I don't think Donkova was tall either, right?
No, Donkova wasn't tall either.
Yeah.
Then there was
Sally Pearson was there.
Shelly Pearson.
Yeah.
There's Masai Russell is not tall. I mean, Tia Jones, who ran 12.19, she and Meg are basically the same height.
Right.
You know, I was talking to them when it was at Research last year, I think it was, when both of them were standing, we were talking trackside and they were standing next to each other. And I'm like, she's tiny. I remember seeing her race against Brittany Anderson at the World Under-18 Championships back in Tampa in 2018. I realized she wasn't very tall either. So this argument that Meg is too short, it's kind of one of those things where these narratives come to play and people run with it and not understanding that it's not about how tall you are. Unless you are a small person, you have to be very, careful these days because if you call them a midget, people jump on your case. But a smaller person, it's about how strong you are, how explosive you are, how fast you are. And I think Meg has all those qualities, like all of the super fast hurdlers these days. I think, when you look at what you saw, I mean, Bridget Foster Hilton is much taller. I remember Bridget was 12.45 at national record.
Right.
Yannick Brown took it down to 12.40. That Daniel Williams is probably one of the tallest sprinters out there, took it down to 12.32. And then here comes Akira Nugent, who is shorter.
Right.
And it's down to 12.24. So the height thing for me is not an argument.
I don't think so.
It's about getting the elements of your race right and applying them at the right time. Because when you look at the fact that at the start of this year, Meg was an 11.77 sprinter, flat 100. And at I think it was a meeting in Miramar, the Grand Slam track, she ran 11.33. And based on what I was hearing leading up to the national championships, she was beating some of the naturals flat sprinters at elite over 30 from 0 to 30. So that would make her somewhere in the region of an 11-1 athlete. So the reality is that she's faster, she's stronger, she's more technically sound, and she's more confident. So going into Tokyo, I think she has as good a shot as any.
No, I think so too. You think the world record could go, or it's probably a little bit too far, given the crowd? No, because we haven't seen, the former Olympic champion is Jasmine Camacho Quinn. She's been plagued with some injuries too. Samba Maela has been hurt a lot.
This year, But here's the thing: if all of the players come in shape, I know Tia Jones isn't there because she had an injury, which is almost like a trend. Remember, she equaled the world record indoor last year and then got hurt. Yeah. She ran 12.19 in Miramar and then got hurt again. But if Masai, Toby, Akira show up in the shape that we know they can run, and Grace Stark obviously can't forget Grace Stark. I mean, 12.21 is just outside the previous world record.
Yeah.
I think the world record could go depending on the conditions. I mean, if the wind is right and the stadium is not too enclosed where the wind is not a factor too much, I think the record could go.
No, it could go. I think it's a lovely stadium that they rebuilt for the Olympics, and it's and the track is relatively unused. It's the Mondo version from the one before Paris, but it's in great shape. It's just waiting on some athletes to be inspired, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, so I think. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, there's so much to talk about. I guess I should ask you, because I was talking to Tim Adams yesterday from Athletics Weekly. But last week, what's your biggest thing from last week? Like your most significant performance that jumped at you last week from the championships? Especially, I mean, it doesn't have to be the US. It could be anywhere. Yeah.
No, well, it's going to be the US because there are 12 that have factored in heavily to my thoughts on what could happen in Tokyo later this year. One was Melissa Jefferson's 10.65. It's something that I've said before. In fact, I said it. I try to remember where I said it, but I said it on a public platform that both women, she and Julien Alfred, are in 10.6 shape based on that 10.75-77 run in Oregon in minus 1.5 wind. So I wasn't really surprised at the time. What surprised me more than anything else was that she did it with a 0.4 wind, which means I was pretty still. Because if she had had a wind like the men's 100 earlier, just a few minutes earlier,
probably 10.5.
That would have been a 10.5 something, which is scary. Because look, I have said publicly, and I say it again here, I'm sticking with Julien Alfred to win the double, and I'm not going to change my mind.
I'm with you with that. Yeah.
Because one of the things is that Melissa is in imperious form, and if she wins, I would not be surprised. In fact, it would be almost par for the course based on what we see she's done all year. She hasn't been beaten all year, and she's the only person to beat Julien this year. Yeah. So, it's at 10.65, which is potentially with a stronger wind at 10.59 or 10.57. It's remember the last person to have to bridge 10.6 since Elaine. It was Elaine in 2021, in August 2021 at 10.54.
In Prefontaine,
So you're looking at a situation where we could have maybe 2 women join her in that if the conditions are right in Tokyo. But the 10.65 for me was extraordinary. We saw signs of that early. She took that 10.73 in Miramar. Not Miramar, in Philly.
In Philly run.
In the cold of Philly.
Yeah, it was
10.73
like 60
of Philly.
degrees or something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So she's in great shape. And at 21.84 in the 200 as well. And the other performance that caught my attention was the 48.90 from Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone.
Interesting.
Afterwards, that she's running the flat 4 in Tokyo.
I thought you would go with 800 meters, but go ahead. Yeah.
No, the 142 with Brazier is fantastic because, he's been injured with that.
For years.
Been injured for years. So for him to come back and run that fast is extraordinary.
It's the kid, though, the 16-year-old kid. That's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, for real. No, but you see, I'm thinking, when I'm thinking outstanding performance, I was thinking more in the context of likely winners in Tokyo. Yeah, I'm not that kid. I'm trying to remember his name as I speak.
Cooper Lutkenhaus.
Yeah, he's really good at 142. Huh?
Oh, it's outrageous. Yeah,
it's ridiculous because remember there was a time outside of the world record, there were guys that were winning championships with those
with
times.
143 high and even 144 was getting medals.
Yep. But do you see him challenging Wanyumi with that kind of pace that Wanyumi can set? And
I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't put the pressure on the kid like that for sure. I think it's the challenge with the 800. I think it's the second most competitive thing right now in track and field. So you look at 141 not medaling at the Olympics last year. So you bring Wanyoni, which I think Wanyoni could break the world record. His run last year in Kenya in the altitude was probably better than that Rhodesia run from 2012, and that's saying a lot. And then you think about Arap, Sajrati, Atoy, Tual. There's a bunch of these guys, Hopper, all those guys. Hopper rather. I don't know if he can win. Brazier is back. I think to win, you have to run low 141 or probably try to go to the world record. But for a kid to do that,
man, extraordinary, because and that's my concern because look, you're gonna find yourself at Worlds in a heat with maybe 2 guys who can run for 141.
Right.
Will that pull him outside of his comfort zone for him to be able to come back to a final and repeat?
That's true. So
those are some of the things that I take into consideration because while the time in isolation is great, when you put it in the context of the field that he's likely to face, and a 49, probably possibly a 49 or 50.1 first lap, can he handle that pace coming home and run 141 and be on the podium? I wouldn't rule out him being on the podium, but you just mentioned a whole bunch of names that he has to go through to get onto the podium.
If he were to do this, then I think it would be greatest performance in track and field. I just don't know how else to say that because
you wouldn't be wrong.
The kid is a special kid, but we'll see. We'll definitely see if he can pull it up. But you were saying something about Sydney there,
here's the thing that excites me about Sydney's 48.90. Because I was doing some checks and looking at the dynamic of what she brings to the flat 400. Now, in the flat 4, we've seen all year Paulino and Naser go at it like madness. Paulino is extremely strong. 48-17 last year, and she can get up and run 49 in her sleep, right? Then you have Naser who ran 48-6 at Stadium in Kingston, and then fell off. I just think it's outside.
Because she was running too much, yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've seen the last few times she's raced, she's getting back to that level.
Yeah.
Right? And then you bring in somebody I have a lot of hopes for is Jamaica's Nikisha Price, because she's raced strategically all year. Grand Slam track, yes. Came to the national championship, ran 49.9 and then ran 49.6. I think Boogie has her right now in a fit place where she's gradually getting back to that 48 shape that we saw at NCAAs last year. And of course, and then eventually in London before she got sick at the World Championships last year and then bowed out at the semifinals. So given the fact that she's raced sparingly and strategically, I say strategically because it's not like she's running randomly at meter. Every time she's run a little bit faster. So it's not like she's running and then she's slow this week or she's fast next week. When she started the Grand Slam track series, I think she ran 53 or 52.
Yeah, it was very slow.
Right? Yeah, and then she came down to 51s, and then she came down to 50.4 in Philly.
Right.
And then
49.63, right? Yeah.
49.6, so you see where there's a strategy there for her to gradually peak in September. So if that is the case, you have 4 women who are potentially going 48 in Tokyo. The last time Naser ran 48-14 to win in 2019 is 6 years ago.
Yeah,
can she get back there?
In Doha. Yeah.
Yeah, she came close in Kingston, but that was in April. We saw Paulino run 48-1 again last year at the Olympic Games. Sydney, I think, is perhaps, and this is weird me even saying it out loud, is perhaps the dark horse to win the gold medal here because she's closer to her PR at 48.74 than the other two are coming in.
That's a big call there, Leighton.
And it's a big call, but that's the thing, because 48.6 is some ways away from 48.14.
Yeah.
And Paulino hasn't run 49 all year, 48 all year. No, she ran 48.81. What am I talking about?
No, she did run 48, yeah.
Yeah.
She has a 48.81. Naser has a 48.67. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so she's at her PB is 48.17. That's 1.5 a second.
Yeah.
So we know both coaches
of
those two athletes know exactly what they're, because both of them tend to bring their A games at the right time. Yeah. So the thing is, though, when you look at how Sydney and Sydney's season is extraordinary. I don't think she's human. But
I agree.
48.90 is closer to 48.74 than those other two are to their PRs.
Interesting.
All right. So if anybody is likely to PB and win in Tokyo, it could be Sydney McLaughlin.
I could see this. I've been holding off not saying it because I think it's an interesting thing to come up against Paulino when it matters the most. But if anybody could do it, I think it's Sydney. In fact, if it were to happen, then it would be the wildest race ever, because either Paulina has to chase her down or Sydney has to chase, because Paulina's going to run late. She's going to come off the curve and Sydney's going to try and push this really hard. It could be 48 flat if they're in the right shape, Who knows? Maybe we go after, what's her name? Jamila's second place about 47.99. Yeah.
The thing about it is that in saying that, though, I mean, I think it will come down to strategy, because if Sydney goes out too hard or is being pulled by Paulino or Naser, who Naser likes to run from the front, she could fall prey to Paulino, who closes late.
Better than the rest,
Yeah, so that's a factor. But so the only concern I have about Nikisha Price is that I think of the 4 women, I think Nikisha is probably the slowest over the first 200.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I need to check back those figures. But the thing is that Nikisha has gradually been getting stronger. I mean, I've been privy to some work that she's been doing, in Arkansas. She looks really good. I also saw Naser bench. I'm squatting 410 pounds recently. So, they're gonna come in. I think all 4 ladies are gonna come in. I think albeit if everybody's healthy, those 4 I think will determine the medals. I mean, as much as Alia Butler has run 49-0 at the US trials, right. I think the NCAA season is going to take toll on her going through the rounds.
Possibly.
And I think people like Dejana Oakley will suffer the same fate. And of course, Whitaker, who has been running all well. But if you realize the first time Whitaker came up against Naser and Paulino, she finished way down the back because she couldn't. She tried to. She can't stick with them. The first 2, and she burnt out at the end. So I'm not particularly worried about those 2 athletes. I think they are the future, obviously. I think, by the time LA rolls around in 2028, I think probably they will be the ones to beat, or in the mix, certainly. But for right now, I think the big 3 right now in my mind are McLaughlin-Levrone, Paulino, and Naser with Nikisha Price just on the outside of that, with a possibility of sneaking in. I just don't see it happening yet. Because I think she's going to have to run somewhere in the region of about 48-3 or 48-4 to be on the podium with those 3 in the race. So.
I agree. I think if you're not doing there, it's going to be a challenge. I'm disappointed in, that Rashidat Adalike didn't kick on, which is interesting to me.
She has some injuries this year.
Yeah, the injuries, yeah. I would also say the last thing I say on Sydney here is that if you notice in the U.S. Championships, she was going for it. I think she was going for Sanya Richards-Ross U.S. national record. Then you get a sense that at the end there, she was really trying to keep that composure. So I don't know if she went out a little bit too hard. That's something they have to talk about. Bobby has to talk about. But yeah, I think if we come in September and she wins it all, no one would really be surprised. But I would probably have slightly favorites for Paulina. In the same way, like you, and I've been getting a lot of heat for this too. Because I said it 2 weeks ago, I was in vacation and I saw London with Julien Alfred in that 200 meters. It's like I've seen enough. I think it's done. But it's hard to say that the way in which Jefferson is running, and maybe it's just the kind of Caribbean spirit, or because I called the Julien thing last year early, I feel like I have to say it again. But I don't know.
No, listen. Melissa Jefferson has been in the form of her life. I was talking to Otto recently, and he was telling me that, she's in the form of her life. She's in incredible shape. So if she even upsets Julien and does the double, I don't think anybody would really be surprised.
Yeah.
But the reality is that I
don't think she can do the double. I think she can win 100. The double, I don't know.
I think the double, look, I say that because it's a possibility. Yeah. She has the second fastest time in the world this year, and she's in great shape. So it's a possibility. But the way I see it right now, and as I explained on one of my videos on the channel recently, I'm not ruling out Shericka Jackson, any of this, but I have to work on the data that we have available.
Right.
We haven't seen Shericka since the national championships when she ran 10.88 in the 100, and she ran 22.53 in the 200, which is the 37th fastest time in the world this year.
Yeah.
So, you can't make a judgment on Shericka until you see something else. I think next week when she runs a couple of races, we'll have a clearer idea of where she's at, because I remember she saying at the national championships that she was 2 weeks before the national championships, wasn't sure she was going to be able to run. And if that's the case and she comes out and runs 10.88, it tells you that there's a level of fitness that she's at in terms of what she's able to do on the track. But whether or not that means that she can get back close to the 21.4 that we've seen from her for the past 2 championships, that's going to be difficult to see, because
that's pushing it probably.
So I think maybe she's in 21.6 shape. That's my thinking.
Right.
But does 21.6 make you win against a Julien Alfred who won 21.71? Training through the month, as I was informed, 21.71, and even she herself said she was surprised at the time, because she was obviously running on heavy legs, and 21.71 tells you that once Florida takes that load off of her, she's going to be flying.
It is. So, I would say no, unless the 100 takes out a lot out of her. But I just, I can't see it. Like
give her how strong she is this year. I mean,
you
remember now, this has been a specific strategy this year. Now, she started indoors with the 400s, then she stepped down to the 300s.
Yeah,
she did that 200 and opened with 21.88. Her PB before that was 21.86. Then she comes and runs at 10. What was it? 10.
It was a 10.
10.8 for the 100.
Yeah. Into the headwind in Monaco, I mean. Yeah. And she was running mad because I think she was upset at that loss in Prefontaine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I know she was running angry. Believe me. And which is one of the reasons why I think also that going into Tokyo, this is going to be a grudge match that she's going to use as fuel for that race. Yeah. Because she did not want to lose that 100. She got out of the blocks bad. Jefferson stole a match on her and she ran out of real estate. Because you remember after the drive phase, Melissa had 2 steps on her. It came down to less than half a step as they crossed the line. So she was probably mad at that. And I was told that she was furious after the race. Actually, I was told she broke into tears. That's the kind of drive that she has. So it's going to be interesting to see how she goes because she has to be calm in Tokyo. She can't have that distraction of the chip on her shoulder.
Right.
She has to come in with the calmness. And I'm sure Eldrick will. Because Eldrick does a very good job of calming.
No, he's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And when he saw that 200, I'm sure he wouldn't even been happy because I know you probably saw it when she came off the curve, it's almost like she had a slight reset and then still run that 21.7.
Yeah, it wasn't smooth.
It wasn't. She didn't slingshot off of it. Yeah.
If she slung off of that, would have been a 21.6 or something. Because, she's a lot stronger. What I can say is that based on what I've seen from her this season. She's a lot stronger than she was last year when she won the Olympic Games. And if that's the case, then, we'll see how it plays out in Tokyo because, Melissa is running 10.65 now, but we don't know what Julien is going to do.
Yeah. And championships. It's a different type of setup for her.
Different thing.
I want to also say before the Gabby Thomas fans comes through, I'm not writing her off too, but clearly she's struggling with an Achilles injury. I think she's a podium prospect if she can, because she wasn't running the other day either. She just went into the U.S. Championships with probably a week of training. So we'll see what happens there.
Listen, what I will say about Gabby is that if you watch that 49.14 that she ran in Jamaica, anybody who doubts her. Listen, man, this girl, she's in shape. I think had it not been for the Achilles thing, I think she probably would have won the 200 nationals. Yeah. But, you can't account for injury. And, of course, she missed out for a few weeks of training because of that. So she has time. She has a few weeks. And let's see how much she can get back, from that setback in 6 weeks, because the 200 start on day 4 or day 3?
It's like right after, it's like the morning after or something like that. So your podium would then be, if you had to do it now, which is early, it would be Julien, Melissa, and Shericka, or you have to wait to see Shericka?
I have to wait to see Shericka. So for this moment, I would be inclined to go with Julien, Melissa, and probably Tina Clayton. Why I say clean?
On the 100, you mean? Oh, I thought it was
the 100. For the 200, it would be it would just definitely Shericka is in the mix there. Yeah. Because if Shericka can come back to a 21.6 or 21.7,
she'll medal.
She'll medal. I think Melissa and Julien will be the athletes to beat. But she'd have to fight. She'd have to fight Gabby for that medal. So it's going to be. It's going to be key. The advantage I think that Shericka has, assuming that what we see from her next week is something that will give you confidence to believe that she'll go into Tokyo even faster, is that Shericka she always has the 400 meter base, and that strength, and
she has the experience,
and she has the experience, and she also has the speed. She has 10.65 speed. Even though I don't think she's a 10.65 athlete anymore, but certainly she's on the flat 100. She's faster than Gabby. Gabby has never broken 11 seconds. So so that's the advantage that Shericka would have if she comes in fit and healthy and ready to run. I'm really keen to see what happens next week when she races, because we haven't seen anything from her since the national championships, which is more than a month ago. And if she's healthy and competes, and we see her looking close to the Shericka that we saw in 2023 in Budapest or in 2022 in Oregon, then I think we'll have different metrics by which we can work with to determine, whether or not she'll be on the podium or where on the podium she'll be when she gets into Tokyo.
All right, cool. I have a lot to talk about, but I want to go to the chat a little bit because usually my people always think I always get them up early. And I think Onika had a question for you earlier. I'm not sure what this is. Do you believe the psyche of an athlete plays an integral part in their performance? And if so, why hasn't Jamaica's sporting bodies employed more sports psychologists? They wanted to get in trouble now.
No, I don't fear getting into trouble.
I know.
What I will say is this: 100%.
Yeah.
I think for many, 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 many years, the advantage that U.S. athletes had over Jamaican athletes was the psychology of it.
Right.
When you look at Raymond Stewart, for example, or Merlin Ottey, or any other Jamaican athletes from that era, they were beaten by U.S. athletes, Juliet Cuthbert, they were beaten by U.S. athletes who just had a greater sense of belief.
Yeah.
Is that they were faster, or they were better, they were mentally tougher.
Yeah.
And what I think that began to change was when Usain Bolt blew up in 2008, because I remember Billion Walker telling me that when Bolt won in Beijing, beating his chest from 15 meters out, it gave every single athlete in that camp a sense of what was possible. And you saw that manifest in 6 gold medals in Beijing in 2008, which is still our best gold medal haul ever. Yeah. And for the next 2 decades, we saw the reverse happen in many instances because, of course, Shelly's always an animal. Shelly's self-belief is beyond anything you'll ever believe and ever see. And, of course, that gave rise to Elaine and to Shericka's and the others who saw what was possible and then executed on that. And then after Bolt retired in 2017, you kind of saw that kind of fall off a little bit. The belief wasn't there anymore. Shelly was carrying it, yes, but Shelly didn't need Bolt to make that confident. So Shelly kind of rubbed off on Shericka a little bit and rubbed off on some of the other athletes, but not as much as what happened in 2008 going to about 2012, 2016.
Yeah.
For the second part of the question, why hasn't the Jamaica Sporting Body? They have, actually. Dr. Olivia Rose has been on trips with teams, national teams. And I think if they talk to a lot of the athletes quietly, they will tell you that they will seek her help. Not as much as they should, but some of them do, because there's this ridiculous notion in Jamaica that if you admit that you need support,
something wrong,
something is wrong with you. But the answer to that question has always been, if you're sick, you go to a doctor. If something you don't feel well, you go to the doctor. If you're not mentally well, you go see a sports psychologist.
Yeah, you need therapy.
You need therapy. It doesn't mean that you're set for the madhouse. It just means that you need some reinforcement of the belief fact, because the belief is always there. It's just that it's in varying degrees. So if you're training, like for example, I tell people all the time that if Michael Frater had Asafa Powell's talent, people would not be talking about Usain Bolt until about 2008 onwards.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because that 2005 run in the World Championship. I was just about to say
that. When Asafa's groin injury kept him out of that championship in Helsinki.
Yeah.
Everybody I spoke to, because that was the year I moved to St. Martin, everybody I spoke to was like, "Why we can't get a medal in the 100 because Asafa not there?" Who saw Michael Frater winning a silver medal here?
Yeah, right behind Gatlin.
Yep. So, Mikey's mentality, and I think that's probably a consequence of the fact that he went to high school and college in the United States and ran well at the NCAA level, because people forget also that Tyson Gay barely beat him in NCAA finals back in, 2000?
It had to be
2002?
4 or 3 or 2, one of them.
Yeah, one of those years.
3, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Tyson Gay beat him on the line. So, it's the thing is, that the sporting bodies have engaged sports psychologists, but the sports psychologists will tell you also that not a lot of the athletes employ their services as much as they should.
I think that's the key. You have to go regularly. Yeah. Elite performance requires mental preparation. Everything.
All the time.
Everything.
All the time.
Attention to detail, Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why, again, if we go back to the initial conversation that we had with Dr. Joe Brown, where she has helped to bolster Megan's belief in her own talents, while helping to strengthen her body as well. So, it happens in some instances, but not as often as it should. And I think a lot of the onus lies with the athletes, because I think the athletes need to come to the understanding that everybody trains basically the same way. The training cycles are similar. The strength work is similar. The base work is basically the same everywhere you go. Over distance work, the hills, all the different drills are basically the same. Tweaks here and there, but it's basically the same. But the main difference is your belief system, your understanding of mentally visualizing yourself executing and believing in the plan to execute. That's why Dr. Joe Brown was working with Noah Lyles before the Olympic finals last year, and we saw where that ended up. So a lot of our youngsters need to start embracing the idea that sports psychology is just as important as
nutrition and training.
Everything else.
All right, I get a couple more here. I think Keisha said, did we see Ashanti? I saw Ashanti more too. So the question for me is whether Chris Taylor can actually get to that standard. But
I like Ashanti's race. I think there's still some phases of her race that need to improve. Her transition from drive to acceleration is not great yet, but it's improving. And I think Will has done a fantastic job with her since she came back home. Right. For Chris Taylor, this is my guess, and I emphasize the word guess. I think Little and Taylor got the timing of the tapering or the timing of the program off a little bit. When you look at the races that he's run, they're all within that window of 20.3 to 20.4, which tells you that his speed decay in the last 40, 50 meters of the race is not where it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I don't know. And I said this is just a guess when I watch the races, because Chris opened the season with a 45.6, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which means that he has the speed endurance to hold. And he did say after the race that he was tiring a little bit in the last part of the race. But for 200, which is half the distance, he shouldn't be having those issues with maintaining that pace. So I don't know if it's a tweak that is required for him to. I mean, he has the knockout championships coming up in mid-August. So maybe they can tweak something when he can get the time there. But I think maybe I'm just thinking that it could be the timing of one of the cycles was slightly off, and it's the reason why he can't break through.
Because it doesn't strike me as an execution thing, but I have to look at it again. But
it's his first 100. What was it when he ran 20.35 the last race when that level bounced to him in 20.2. The first 100 looked pretty solid to me.
Yeah.
And then when he came off the curve, he was like maybe a step and a half behind Level. And then Level literally, people don't realize that race. Level wasn't even pushing down the stretch.
He's not even, he wasn't running hard at all. Yeah.
No, and then Chris kept falling further and further behind, which suggests to me that there's something wrong either with his execution or with his speed endurance work, which again, it comes back to maybe something with the cycle that he's training on. That's probably because he's running all the time. The deadline is August 24th, so he needs to.
You got to get it
right
in a few weeks, because then you have to get down to Tokyo and all that. Chuck for all is asking who's someone in the 200s that could be a dark horse. I don't know, maybe Amy Hunt. I like what I saw from her at the British Championships. I don't think she can medal, but she's really a high level. I think she also has a really mental focus too.
She trains in Italy, and I think what we've seen Coach Air work out with her is that she's a lot stronger than previously, and her speed is definitely improving. I watched her destroy Janila Smith on the backstretch of that relay in London. She's really quick, and she's really strong. You saw how she was closing on Dina at the US.
I think she had better should have won the race.
Should have won the race, and it makes me concerned about whether or not Dina is coming to the end of her rope as an elite athlete, somebody who can be really competitive anymore. Because she's.
Were you shocked by her leaving Coach Flo?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Because I heard she left right after Prefontaine when she finished 6th.
Yeah.
I think Dina is. How do I say this nicely? Because I really like her.
I like Dina a lot. Even the guys at Athletic Weekly were saying they were shocked when she said she was training in London. No one saw it coming. Yeah.
I think Dina is, her mind is cashing checks that her body can't write anymore. And she's not accepting it. I think the reason why she left, this is just me again because this is just pure speculation, is that she's probably training in Texas and thinking, here I am training Julien Alfred, and Julien is blowing her out in training, and she's not producing the times in competition, in real competition, while Julien is making strides every time, and thinking that maybe she feels like she's there to be Julien's toy.
Right.
But I don't think that's the case, because when you look at Dina over the last few years, even when she says she's in great shape, she's not running fast times anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe what it is that she's at the wrong end of her career in terms of her able to bring peak performance. The 22-1-4, realistically, do you see 21-22? If she runs that time in Tokyo, do you see that time being on the podium? I don't think so.
No, that can't. That might be struggling to make the final.
Yeah. So I think maybe she's thinking that she's still capable of doing these things, but her body's like, I don't think so. It's like I was telling somebody the other day about, Shelly, and they asked me if I think Shelly can win in Tokyo, and I was like, are you seeing the other woman who she's going up against? Shelly has been great for 16, 17 years. Huh?
Yeah.
In fact, almost 18, because her first senior championship was
2007, right?
Yeah,
on the relay in the first round.
4x1 team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as I said, the term I used that Shelly can. I don't think Shelly's capable of God mode anymore.
Yeah.
She's a mere mortal now. So 1091, I think she'd probably go, if she goes into Tokyo, she'd probably get a 1085.
Yeah.
But does 1085 get her into the final, or does 1085 get her on the podium? I don't see it. Not saying it's not possible.
It's not. And the challenge is, if you run a 1085 to get into the final or so, at her age, the recovery, a 90-minute window, it starts to eat up on you,
Yeah. I mean, Shelly's not a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah.
And I know, I believe that based on what she saw, what happened to her in Tokyo, in Paris last year, I think she wanted to go on her own terms then, and wasn't allowed to. So this is an opportunity for her to go out on her own terms. So I think if she can get to the final,
she'll be happy.
Yeah. And walk away with her chin held high, because I think I don't think anybody can question her greatness.
I think that's the greatest 100-meter runner we've ever seen, and the one to beat her hasn't been born yet in terms of the accomplishment. From a personal perspective, you want her to go out. I don't like it in a way, because when the thing about Shelly, and we might use times, and times are important, but it's when she locks into a major championship, she'll take it from you. You think about 2012 when everyone was saying Jetta, she can't defend, and look what she finds a way. Injured in Brazil, still gets on the podium. Yeah. Injured again. Was it Budapest? She came back from the hamstring thing or whatever, and still finds a way. So I think she's different class, No,
and Shelly's world class. Shelly's elite at a level where, and it's one of the reasons why I have this problem when people talk about Flojo being the greatest athlete of all time. I'm like, to me, that argument has no merit whatsoever. Yeah. And look, I don't know if you have any listeners from the United States from the show, but here's my evidence.
We do, but it's fine.
Yeah, here's my evidence. If you look at Flojo's career, the silver in 84,
Yeah.
And the 3 gold medals in 88 and 1 silver in the 4x4. What else has she done that merits that argument that she's GOAT?
Yeah.
If
She
you put
had
her,
something. She did. Was she in Rome too in '87 too? She had a medal in Rome, right? Yeah.
yeah, I think she had a medal in
Yeah.
Rome. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but when you look at her credentials,
Yeah.
and match it to Elaine, Shelly.
Look, I don't think she's the
That's
best American. I think the best American 100-meter runner to me still is probably Evelyn Ashford. That's my take. If I had to rank it there, I think Gail has a better career by far. Second woman to double back-to-back after Wyoming Tyus. So I'm.
So that argument, they need to put that argument to rest because honestly, it annoys me because it's like you take an athlete out of the random one with 1 year and then you.
Yeah. I think that's the issue with the world record stuff, and the 100-meter world record, we all know that was a hurricane.
Yeah.
And so I think part of that, and it makes us, when we say, this is like why sometimes I don't like this argument. I do it a lot, but it makes it feel like we're hating on FloJo in a sense.
But we're not.
Because it's the same way I say the Marita Koch world record is hindering the sport for women. The 800-meter world record has done the shot put. All of that stuff was not, we know what happened then. And they haven't rectified world athletics, and so they sit on the book for nothing.
Because I tell people all the time, and if for those who are listening in on this, Google the World IAAF report.
They did a study on it.
They did a study on it, right? It's a 64-page study, I think it was, and the determination was that FloJo's 10.62 at the Olympic Games in 1988 should be the world record.
That means Elaine would have broken the world record.
Broken the world record, yeah. So, nobody is hating on FloJo for what she accomplished. We're just saying this argument of her being good is ridiculous. It's nonsensical. There's no basis in logic for it.
Yeah. What I guess since I saw this comment quickly, what's the update on Elaine? I think you broke a couple of weeks ago. She was training in Spain.
Yeah, she's training. She's training in Spain with Elite Performance. What we don't know is whether or not this is a temporary thing or it's a permanent move. As you know, from her camp, there's a complete blackout of information, so we don't know anything outside of what my sources will tell me and what I've been able to confirm. Elaine, I think this is something that I don't like to talk about as well because people think I hate on her when I say
I know it's over. That's what you want to say.
No, I'm not saying it's over. I think what I'm saying.
No, I mean it's over for like 10-5 or 21.
Yeah, 10-5 is never happening again.
Yeah.
All right. I think Elaine made a series of mistakes after 2021.
Yeah.
That have, I wouldn't say tarnish her legacy, but prevented her from building on her legacy.
Yeah.
The decision to leave MVP was one. And here's what I'm not going to say you can't leave MVP because there was this argument one time that you can't leave MVP and become better. But Shelly proved that.
That's not true.
But that's not true. So that's rubbish. But if you're going to leave one of the best track coaches in the world,
you have to go to another one.
Should go to a coach of similar nous who's able to either take you to that level, keep you at that level or take it to another level.
Yeah.
She ended up with her husband coaching her, who, despite his best intentions, is not
that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
I think at the time I had said something like, you wouldn't bring the Ferrari to the shade tree mechanic. You don't carry it down the street. You carry it to the dealer, Yeah.
And the reason why I said this is that when I watched the Sprint documentary 2 years ago, where she said that anybody can coach her, speaks to a mentality that is the reason why she is where she is now. Because if anybody could coach her, she wouldn't be where she is right now, having not competed since 2022 in any serious way.
Right.
Because if you remember, she came to the national championships. It was 2023, ran 11:05.
Yeah.
Came fifth. Went to Shaniki Osborne, who took her to.
And that was going well. Yeah.
And was going well, and then that whole argument about money and everything, and then she left, and then went to Elite Performance, and she went backwards, and then went to Florida, and then kind of just fell off the radar for a while. the decisions that she made after 2021 had severe consequences on her career. And I think that's why the reason why she's where she is now. Because a big part of MVP and Shanique Osborne is the fact that they knew how to manage that injury situation that she had. And it was not just about the coaching, it's about managing that issue, which has been the bugbear of her career.
Right.
Because Shanique, as far as I was told, is the understanding that she was directly involved in Indian's preparation when she was at MVP. So she was familiar with all of the process. So that was part of the problem. I see somebody asking what happened to Lene. Lene told me she's taking a year off. She was having some dark times.
Okay.
So
well, hopefully she gets back, because we saw that with one of the Whittaker sisters, and she came back this year in the 800 meters.
Yeah, but so Lene is off. We don't know. I honestly don't know if she's coming back to the sport. We can hope that she comes back, because clearly she has potential there. I
think a lot of people had some questions too about 100 meters. Your take on this? Let me ask a couple of things on this too, because I've been thinking through it. What's your take on Oblique Seville? Because I gave Oblique grace in the first Olympics. I gave him a little bit of grace when we got to Eugene, but after that, I was like, you have to be on the podium. And he has the ability to be on the podium, but what can he?
I had a conversation with Glenn last December. And what Glenn told me was that when Oblique runs the rounds, there's a question that came up on the screen, and I want to address that after this question. Is that when he does multiple rounds on any given day, he has an extraordinary buildup of biochemicals in his body that restricts his mobility. I think we saw that at the national championships as well, where he was cramping up in the
Very
final.
fortunate. If it was international, they threw him out, right?
Yeah, he would have been out. Yeah. So I know it's something that they're consistently working on, and also that I think the inability to get on the podium for the last 3 championships, I think, has in some ways impaired his confidence a little bit. Because I remember saying it on the zone one time, and people are saying, but Glenn said he's mentally tough. Yeah, we can be mentally tough all you want. But every time, if you go to a particular circumstance, every single time when you're supposed to be better and it doesn't happen, the next time you go there, it's going to always be in the back of your mind that we've come to this point before and it's not happened. So what I will say is, and this is something I will say this, and I will say it without any reservation. If Oblique goes to Tokyo and does not have any issues with this issue that Glenn told me about last December, he wins, and he wins comfortably. I don't care how fast Kishane Thompson runs. That's what I will tell you, because I actually believed. I thought Kishane was going to win in Tokyo, in Paris last year. But I actually believed that if anybody was going to beat him, it would be Oblique Seville. Right. And if you look at that race in London, he beat Noah. And I don't want to use that race to compare to Noah, but it was Noah's first 100 for the season.
Right.
But that's not. But if you look at how he executed that race.
After the 100 too, after the relay too, right?
After the relay too, the phases were virtually perfect. And he was easing down the last 20 meters and they could not catch him. Right. And based on what I've been hearing, he is flying in practice.
So 9.6?
Look, a friend and I were having a conversation just 2 days ago, and we are saying that if Oblique can get through these challenges that he has when he goes to major championships, he will perhaps be the second fastest Jamaican all the time.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I hope he does, because I think you don't want the career to end where you shoulda, woulda, that kind of situation, because talent is not a short. He's been conditioned by one of the very best. So, I hope so. Kishane also is is in interesting shape. I think the issue with Kishane, and I don't know if we talked about this before on WhatsApp or so. I think his management of the deceleration is probably the biggest problem. If he can find a way to just relax in the last 20 meters of the race, he should be fine too. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Forgive me a second. I just need to
respond to no problem. Else. Yeah. I'll get to some comments in the meantime. Sorry, guys. Normally I have everything on the live. I see we already answered your question there, Brian. Sherwood also saying it was a mistake. Yeah, but back to Kishane. Yeah, I think he doesn't manage the deceleration.
Yeah, he for a couple of things that I see from the last two races he's run. Once he gets about 75, his shoulders go up and he starts to reach for the line. It's the same thing that happened in Paris last year. He starts to overstride,
right?
Which then retards his speed, because when you overstride, you tend to land more on closer to your heel, and it almost has a braking effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so he slows down significantly faster than he should be slowing down. But if Frano can fix that, he's also a 9.6 athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think Jamaica should go 1-2 reasonably, but if they get it right,
they should have done that last year.
Yeah,
that's why I said last year.
Yeah,
but the fragility of this next cadre of stars is the big issue for me.
Yeah.
They are not healthy. It's something else. They just need to get it together.
Yeah, because I don't know what to say. I think Kung Fu Kenny looks good. I don't know where Noah will be by the time we get to September. I actually think Noah was toying with us because I didn't really think he was going to win the 200 at the U.S. Championships. I thought he would be running well, but I didn't know he would come out that well.
A couple of things. I think I thought when Kenny was in Jamaica in April, I asked him, I said, is this the year when you beat Noah?
Yeah.
And he said yes. And he didn't say it as if to dismiss me because he was looking me dead in the eye, and he said, yes, it's going to happen. But here's what I think affected Kenny at the national championships in the U.S. A few weeks ago, he pulled out of a meet.
Yeah.
Because he had some stiffness. And he wasn't able to train for about 2 weeks, I'm told. So when he came into the U.S. trials, he wasn't as sharp as he would have wanted to be. Because he realized in the 200 especially, Noah caught him basically on the line.
Yeah.
Had he been able to train those last 2 weeks, the outcome may well have been different. So I'm not particularly worried about Kenny, especially when it comes to competing against Noah. Mm-hmm. But I think had he not had that injury issue, he would have been a different athlete altogether.
Yeah, I think so. It's because I thought he would have won comfortably, but it's Worlds. I don't know what to think. What your thoughts on? First of all, your thoughts on that little bust up at the end there, which I like the competition. I love athletes to get in each, but I think the pushing is probably a little bit too far for me.
Yeah, I think what happened, a couple of things. I think what had happened. I think the frustration, one, and two, Noah actually drifted over into his lane.
Yeah, into his lane, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, as an instinct, he pushes on out and pushed Noah. I don't think it was something that was malicious.
Yeah.
In the sense that he wanted to harm him or anything.
It's just so he didn't fall or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But that whole thing, I think, stemmed from some gossip column thing. I don't know the exact details of it, where Kenny's wife, I think it was
something like I don't speak.
Ridiculing Jenny Bromfield, and that created some tension there as well. And I think there has been an ongoing tension between them competitively as well. So I think everything just boiled over for that. But I like it. I think that's what the sport lacks. I think when I was growing up, the athletes were always going at it. I mean, we didn't have social media yet, but you read reports about they were just not nice to each other.
Yeah, they didn't like each other. The huff and puff stuff from the 90s to our 80s, 90s, Carl Lewis, Linford Christian, all these guys didn't like each other.
Yeah, you remember, I mean, you Christian, Carl Lewis, and Christy, and what's his name, Carl Lewis,
Frankie Fredericks,
Frankie Fredericks. all of them had their
Leroy
early
Burrell
peaks.
never like each other.
Yeah, so that was what I think made it, because it made each race matter that much more. I think athletes today are too nice. They're way too nice. And I think it makes the sport boring. Let me just address something. I saw somebody talking about underestimating Shelly. Nobody's just underestimating Shelly. But reality. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's. Yeah, I don't think Shelly's going to jump up. No, nobody says she's going to pick flaws.
Right.
but I don't know if you've been seeing what Melissa Jefferson and Julien Alfred have been doing this year. I don't think Shelly can get back to that level anymore, as much as she would want to. Yeah. I think last year at the Olympics, perhaps given the time that ran in the final, 10:87, finishing third, I think Shelly was capable of getting any of those times. In fact, based on what I understood about how Shelly's preparation was going, she probably would have gotten the silver medal in Paris last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not overlooking Shelly, but we have to come to the reality that Shelly came third at the national championships, not second, third, and by some distance. 10:81 to 10:91 is a city block in sprinting. All right, and she'll have time between July 27th and the World Championships. Shelly, I think, runs next week.
She's running next week. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if she runs 10:8, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But does 10:8 get her on the podium? Maybe not, because you have the two Americans. You have Kayla White.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
Yep. At 28, she's a late bloomer. I mean, she came to sprint Star Athletics in 2023. After being, I think she was with Dwayne Ross for like 9 years before that. So and then you're looking at the Americans. One, you're looking at the Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Her own Jamaicans, and then you're looking at outliers like, as we said, Amy Hunt and others.
Amy Hunt. Darren Nita, you can't write her off.
So you have, it's not like we're saying that, we don't know Shelly. Really? I don't think anybody has covered Shelly as closely as I have for the past 17 years.
Right.
I know things about Shelly that she doesn't know I know about her either.
Yeah.
So trust me, look, we all want them to go on and run in perpetuity forever. But Shelly's 38 years old.
Yeah, it's just not possible.
And a half. There are certain things that just don't happen anymore.
Yeah, you hope she does something special, but
you always hope. You keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But reality is one of the things. I have always been a realist. I will look at a situation, and in my heart, I will say, "Why I hope that she does well." In my head, I'm like, "No chance." So it is what it is. What we
it's
wish
the same
for,
like Talou. I love Talou. I would love for her to get on the podium, but I just don't see it,
Because she deserves to be on the podium. But, she's also, she's what, 37 or 36?
Yeah, she's up there too. Or if you go on the men's side and you look at Akani Sambini, I think he's going to miss out again. And it's a nice athlete you won't find. Yeah.
He runs fast. He's been, the South African.
Yeah. And the Australians too.
Seasons are different from the Western world, so they are peaking a lot faster peaking earlier than the athletes on this side of the world. So it's not a situation where we don't want Shelly to do well. Yeah. It's just that if you put a brand new Porsche 911S turbo against a 1979 911S, chances are the new 911S is going to comfortably win, because I've driven a 911S and it can go up to 191 miles an hour. All right, the current ones I think go up to 195 or 190, something like that. So that's just the reality.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, one thing I'll say about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is that if you give her any inch or any inclination that she can be in it, she'll take it out of your eyes and smile. So
if you crack the door, she will kick it in.
Yeah, I tell her she'll fight it for marbles. So I said, don't.
Look, she's a
If
warrior.
you're the other athletes, do not allow it to happen. Because she will do it and ride off in the sunset. So
she's a warrior. Whenever she steps to that line, she's a beast. But the reality is that time is afraid of no one, and I think unfortunately, Shelly's way on the wrong side of 30.
Right.
And
the fact that she was able to do that after birth, twice world champion, medals, she's already done things that no one will do, I think, in the sport. Speaking of that, Sha'Carri, what about Sha'Carri? Anything? I saw you had that story about the bust up in
the police report.
Yeah.
That was, I think the police made a lot more out of that.
Yeah, probably.
Boyfriend and girlfriend have a tussle. Leave it alone. No?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Sha'Carri can get back to what she ran at the US trials, 11:03.
Yeah, I think she ran. Yeah, it was a decent run, but I don't.
Yeah, but it wasn't anything that made you get excited to say, "Wow, she's going to come back and challenge." I don't think that's going to happen either. I don't even know if she, based on what I see now in 6 weeks. Yeah, she probably get to the final, but will she be a factor in the final?
Right
now, it doesn't look that way.
Yeah, the execution doesn't look so good for her right
now.
No,
her start is terrible, and I don't know what went wrong with her start and her acceleration, but they're way off this year. I know she had that injury in February that impacted her early season, but I don't know. I try to visualize. I try to visualize scenarios in where she gets back to a 10-7 athlete between now and Tokyo. I don't see it. I think she'll probably get to 10-9s or maybe 10-8 highs, but I don't see her getting to a level where she's going to be, because look, all right, so if I use Shelly from
200 too, right, and it didn't work.
Yeah, she's out of the 200, so that was never a surprise to me. 2008, Shelly ran 10.82 at national championships.
Yeah.
And won in Beijing in 10.78. If Tina Clayton follows that trajectory, she's going to be in 10-7 shape by the time she gets to Tokyo as well. So you're looking at two women who could go 10-6 or 10-5. We know Tina Clayton and maybe Kayla White could go 10-7.
Right.
That automatically puts Sha'Carri out of the podium, and we don't know what Aliyah Hobbs will come with because
that was a surprise to me.
Yeah, well, because she tends to run well, and then she comes to these championships, and invariably she gets hurt or something happens with her. I don't know what work her coach does with her in terms of preparing her mentally for occasions like this, but something always seems to go wrong for her at the worst possible moments.
Right.
So when I saw her finish at third at the national champion, I'm like, whoa, finally Aliyah Hobbs. But can she go to Tokyo now where the environment is going to be tenser, the pressure is going to be higher, and the competition is going to be deeper? I don't know if maybe she gets to the final.
We'll see. It's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know. I think the other day, I think I saw you were saying something about the 4x1 for men. And you're,
when I added up the season best times for the top,
it was on your video, right? Yeah.
The top 4 Jamaicans in the world this year. 988 for Akeem Blake, 982 for Brian Level, 983 for Oblique, and 975 for Kishane. The sum total of those times was 37.28, which was 0.07 off the times from the guys who ran that.
From 2012.
So on 2012 ran 36.84. But what is even more interesting now is that following the US trials, the top 4 US men, 37.28.
Yeah.
The top 4 Jamaican men, 37.28. So it's going to come down to, I think, execution and who is available for. Jamaica, it's always some politics.
Yeah.
And if the politics don't come to play and we can field our 4 fastest men, then it should be very interesting.
How would you do it? I would line up with Blake to Oblique to Level to Kishane.
That's how I see it. As much as Kishane has that issue with finishing, I think if he's in a foot race with say a Noah Lyles down the stretch. I will give him the edge in a relay, not on a flat race, but in a relay.
Okay.
Because he's after that running start, and I think because even in London, you saw Zanel, he was close on him down the stretch.
Yeah.
But Oblique on the backstretch would destroy. I don't care who's on the backstretch for the US. Oblique Seville destroys that. And Akeem Blake, who is probably the second best starter behind Oblique, and gets it to Oblique to Brian Level, who's not excellent curve runner.
Oh yeah, I like his curve running. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and gives it to Kishane. I think Jamaica and US go down the line together, possibly 36-9 or 37 flat, somewhere in that region.
That's saying something. I mean, I guess the most important thing is the relay execution. Yeah, I agree with you on the speed thing from just the raw numbers, but that it would be wild if they could come anywhere close to that 2012 team, and that was a tough race too. Johan Blake eating up that curve on, was it Tyson on the curve?
Listen, to this day, I don't think I've ever seen somebody destroy somebody on a curve like that.
Yeah.
Because Justin Gatlin had given the US a slight lead over Michael Freight on the backstretch.
Yeah.
And Johan literally blew Tyson Gate. How you notice Jamaica is behind the United States in the stagger.
Yeah.
And Johan Blake is ahead of Tyson Gate on the curve.
Yeah.
That means that he had more than 5 meters on him on the curve.
Yeah.
And so he gets to stick to your scene, and of course, get to stick to your scene.
It's over,
It's over. Yeah. So, but I think it's a be an interesting matchup. If they have proper relay practices, and I think Jamaica has depth now where they can send out a team in the heats to give somebody a chance to rest, especially those guys. Because the good thing about
because Level would run in the 200 anyway.
200 only, and the other three will run in the 100 only. Yeah. So they won't have to worry about 2 events as opposed to 1. And I think if they get enough time to practice, and if they have, I was saying initially, they have enough depth to run the heats without having any of those guys on. Okay, you can change 4 guys now.
Yeah.
So you have Raheem Ford, who's at 10-0. You have Rohan Watson at 10
Watson,
flat. Yeah, and then you have
Goldson.
Goldson.
Adrian Goldson, yeah.
Yeah, you can probably have maybe Akeem or one of those guys can run the heats with the guys and then qualify for the final, and then come in the final with the 4 strongest guys. So it's I think Jamaica, this is probably the best shot we've had since 2016 to win gold in the 4x1.
Yeah, I like their chances. They need to execute. The US will be strong. South Africa would be good. I think Team GB they could be in the mix if they have some good baton. The women are much better for sure. I think the GB probably starts slight favorites for me in the women, which is odd to say, but they executed so well the other day in London too in that race. I don't know.
Yeah, what was it, 41.6?
Yeah, it's like all time. It's like 3rd fastest ever, right? Or 4th fastest ever. It's up there. Yeah.
Before the US trials, I would have said Great Britain has that.
Yeah, but no, yeah.
But given what we saw at the US Championships, that's not the case. I think the US are right now strong favorites to win gold in that event. Yeah. I think Jefferson on anchor, or even if we let her start, it's over from the first leg.
TT Terry always runs well for them on a leg.
And TT can anchor because she'll have a city block lead on the anchor.
Yeah. If I don't know if they'll run Gabby, it depends on what kind of form she's.
Yeah, if Gabby says that Gabby runs a curve and Kayla White run the backstretch, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
the US is gonna be.
Yeah, they're gonna be fair. Yeah, that's definitely. They could be pushing on the world record too.
Yeah, I think the US and Great Britain probably have 2 of those medals. I mean, assuming everything goes well.
Yeah.
They have 2 of the 3 medals already. I mean, the 3rd will be probably up for grabs. Jamaica and, I don't know, Spain.
The key thinks we're sleeping on Canada. I mean, we're not sleeping on Canada. Usually shows up. But this time, I'm not sure. The grass is at the end of it. I don't know what to make of Canada.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name?
He just run
995.
Yeah, we're at 995.
Jerome
Blake. Is it Blake?
Blake,
no,
right? Yeah. But Canada is always in the mix, huh? Their changes are usually very solid. they obviously spend a lot of time. Brendan Rodney and the rest of the guys tend to run, they practice with. But I think in terms of just raw leg speed,
they don't have it. Yeah, they're like Japan. The Japanese will probably come at home soil with some good baton exchanges, but it's the
raw leg speed. Jamaica and the USA have the leg speed to beat anybody right now.
Yeah, it is. Are you feeling, Leighton?
I'm good.
All right.
Having a sip of water.
Yeah, if you want, because I know you're tired. I don't want to take up.
I'm not getting any side eyes yet. So.
You're not getting side. My wife just texted me if I'm still on the live, but
she's
not at home. She's not at home, so she can't say anything right now.
I just got a side eye.
Mr. Rue says, I'm surprised Mr. Leighton has not considered Tina a podium. You did say that. I thought you said she had a chance on the podium, right?
Yeah, I had her on the podium.
Yeah.
I said in the 100. I said Julien, Melissa, and Tina.
Yeah. There was a philosophical question that I know you like. I always like to talk about this. Track for All was asking about why Jamaican men can't get back to the middle distance. This is how much time you have.
Because spend a year on that. Look, Jamaica has, in terms of potential for good 800-meter runners, Jamaica has a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of guys who can run 48 and 47s over 400, but they don't want to do the 8 because the 8 requires a lot more work than they're not willing to put in. I remember talking to Seymour Newman one year at Champs, not long ago, it was a few years ago when he was still coaching at Homewood, and he was saying to me that the guys don't want to do the work. They don't want to run the distances to get that that base that will allow you to repeat after you run a 49 leg or a 50 leg and come back home on a negative. So unless there are lots of guys locally who are willing to do that, I don't think it's gonna. I should probably have to pay them. I mean, we see Navaski Anderson trying a thing. National record.
Not good enough,
But 144.61 would probably get you on a podium 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But not today.
You can't. The standard is so high now to even get into the World Championships.
Yeah.
I think you have to have an overall at the local level. Like, you can't go to high school championships and guys running like 150. It doesn't make sense, right? Like, it's way out of step with where the rest of the world is.
Because I see guys running 153 at Champs and people saying, yay. Look, we just spoke about a 16-year-old running 142.
Yeah.
That's 11 seconds faster. So, this is what we're talking about.
I mean, if you think, Amos was the previous under 20 world record holder. Amos you think about one Yoni's 21. These guys are kids. They're not like, and they're running ridiculous times.
They're running 49 splits on the first 4.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. If you can't run 49 or 50 over the first and come back home in 51 or 52, it don't make no sense.
It's over.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I think, and with the sports science, with all these things are changing, increasingly, they're going to drop the standards again on the 800 meters.
Yep, it's crazy. I would be surprised at the world record.
Right.
I think Janelle is.
I don't know about Cherokee.
Cherokee has. I'm trying to be diplomatic here. She has an injury issue.
Okay.
That prevents her from training this season. That's all I can say on that. Because I have an idea of what, but I can't speak to it publicly because what I was told in confidence. And I can't.
Okay. And Shericka is Dublin, as far as you know, right?
Yeah, but I've gotten the vibe all year that it is a possibility that she may pick one event or the other, but not both. I think she ran the 100 at trials just to give her that option.
Okay.
Because she's defending.
Yeah, she has the buy.
200. But I get the impression that it'll come down to how her fitness is assessed by August 24 actually, when the entries, the deadline closes off.
Yeah, the deadline.
Going. But put it this way, there is something that tells me that she'd probably run one event, not two.
And
if she
you think it's the 200?
I think it's most likely, if she goes in 1 minute, most likely it's going to be a 200. Because it's less explosive. It doesn't require her to put that much strain on her body early. Because I don't know what they're not telling us, but the injuries that she had last year were more significant than they actually were. That were actually made to believe.
Okay.
And I think it delayed her preparation this season, and it also then perhaps gave them an idea that her body is probably breaking down under the load of preparing for 2 events on one. That's just my impression. I could be completely wrong on this. But,
interesting, because I'm glad you brought it up, because I forgot to ask you about this, because I'm looking at Shericka and I wonder if she's like healthy, but her mind hasn't gone yet to running free. Like I'm wondering if it's like popping up in her head, like, when you come back from a long-term injury, you're like, am I gonna hurt myself again? And
that's probably it. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
When you get a bad injury, you don't trust your body anymore, and so you hold back on things. Let me use myself as an example. I tore the shoulder in 2013. It took me 15 months to heal.
Yeah.
All right. And when I used to go to the gym, I used to literally nurse the shoulder with a dumbbell and the bench presses, because you always feel that the shoulder is going to quit on you. Eventually it quit on me again, but that was because the scar tissue got ruptured and then the shoulder got hurt again. But you always tend to not trust the part of your body that got hurt. So your mind is designed to protect you from damaging yourself. Which is why I tell people all the time, the reason why people get knocked out when they get punched hard, especially when they don't see the punch coming, is that your brain, on impact, your brain senses that your body could be in danger and shuts down to protect you from further harm. So mentally, you have to get over that hurdle as well. So maybe she's suffering from some of that as well, because I mean, you have to be honest, she hasn't looked particularly great all season. Yeah.
And she's hardly running. So you hope, if that's the issue, it's a better situation than reoccurring injury that they have to manage with the training or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I ruptured my Achilles some years ago. It took me a while before I could play football and not think about it. It's like it takes a while. Yeah. But who knows?
My right knee right now, I have a torn meniscus, and I'm even afraid to walk. That's how bad it is. Because I don't like surgery. So I'm kind of watching, because a friend of mine who's an orthopedic surgeon said I kind of strengthen the muscles around my knee, and I don't have to do the surgery as long as I don't do anything where I have to move laterally suddenly or anything like that. So I leave it at that.
So no tennis for you. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nowadays I stand up on the court. There's a court in the complex, and I shoot hoops from a very stationary position.
Jared's asking Julien and Melissa. I think we addressed that. I say Julien. I think Leighton, you said Julien right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Julien.
It could be anybody. Yeah.
It could be either.
Yeah.
But I'm liking. Look, I love how Melissa looks, but I think something tells me that Julien is going to win it. What was that last
Donald
question?
says, I don't know I think that's a bit harsh there, Donald. What's going on with Antonio Watson? It's just injuries, right? I mean,
yeah, it's primarily injuries. He ran a 46-0. Was it yesterday or somewhere on the weekend? I think they're probably just gearing up probably for him to come to competition shape by Tokyo. I don't think they're particularly rushing it, because there was a race earlier this season where he walked. I think it was a national championship where he walked off the track, and people were concerned whether or not he was hurt or not. He wasn't. He just wanted to show up.
Okay, so he was. Oh, so when he pulled out at the national championships, he wasn't hurt. Okay.
No. But I think we'll take the men's 100 in the sun. I said it earlier. I think Oblique Seville is going to win.
Susan she's not in the sport. Yeah,
I
think. Yeah, she already announced that. I think they're planning weddings, right? If I understand correctly.
Yeah, and look, Janelle, she's represented well, not as well as I think she would have hoped, given what we saw from her at Champs a few years back. But she hasn't made that transition, and I think representing Jamaica and, doing well enough on relays and stuff like that. I think she probably just realized that maybe it's time to move in another direction. She has a very great relationship with Noah. They're probably building a future together. She's an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
So that's where our focus is, it seems. And,
I guess you have to manage Noah too. He's like a business, right?
Yeah. So we wish her the very best in that as well. She's a very lovely young lady, and I know some people are being cruel to her last year and earlier this year. Those people they need to start loving themselves first.
Yeah. All right. 400. How do you think of 400 meters will go at the championships for men? We talk about women, but it's kind of wide open now, you think, right?
Wide open. Quincy Hall isn't there.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, Stephen Gardner is not the Stephen Gardner of old. I think he's been. I want to see what he does at the knockout championships next couple of next.
You think he's done? Because he keeps getting injured every time.
I don't think he's done. I just think he's become more injury prone than he has been in recent years. And I think it's probably affecting his ability to perform at the highest level. But when you look at Ja'Cory Patterson, you're looking at
Nene could come something. The guy from Nigeria.
I was thinking about Nene. I think Nene is probably a dangerous threat.
Yeah.
I am looking at.
I mean, Hudson-Smith is the interesting one. I think if he's healthy, he should win. But
he should have won at the Olympics last year.
Yeah.
So maybe this.
And maybe the World Championships the year before too, right?
He tends to. His last 10 meters of races, his speed tends to drop significantly and allow him to be caught. I think Chris Bailey is going to be in the mix.
Yeah.
But I think it's wide open. I hope Jerim can use what happened in Paris last year as motivation. You run 43.78 and come fourth.
Hey.
Right? That's ridiculous.
Hey.
Right? Now that Quincy Hall isn't there, maybe this is an opportunity for him to say, if I run 43.7 again, I'm on the podium.
Right.
Because you and I know one time you run 43.7, you're definitely on the podium.
You have to win. You're winning.
You're winning. Kirani James run 43.8 and came fifth.
43.87 fifth. Yeah.
So, but no, that the Olympic champion is not there. And to be truthful, the times haven't been particularly fast this year. I mean,
no, they haven't been.
We've probably seen one or two 43s, if that many. I think Ja'Cory Patterson ran 43 in Miramar.
Yeah, he did a 43. There's, I think, about 3 guys did a sub 44. I think. Yeah,
but we haven't seen anybody else. I mean, anybody closest to that was like
Hudson-Smith with a 44.10 and Quincy Wilson, who crashed out in the first round.
So I think it's wide open. I think anybody who comes ready to run anywhere between 44.1 and 43.9 will probably be on the podium. And I think based on what I saw from Jerim at the national championships last weekend, where he literally coasted at 20.2, he may be in the kind of shape to run 43 again. And if that he does it again, he probably on the podium could possibly even win. I mean, Ja'Cory Patterson is going to be hard to beat, but
So you would say Jerim not to run the 200?
No, I think Jerim needs to stay with the 400. I don't think he has the speed to run the 200 anymore.
Even with the 19.8 the season for when he was in.
Yeah, look, Kenny and Noah are going to run somewhere between 19.3 and 19.4. Tebogo is going to run somewhere in that region as well.
If he's healthy, for sure.
Yeah. So I think the 400 is that. I think there's an opportunity in the 400 that he would not necessarily have in the 200. That's my.
I guess. Here's one. Common sense is asking: do you think Alana Reid should return home to train for the next World Championships?
Why?
Yeah.
No, I mean I hear this argument all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Why? Why is it that we suddenly think that the only people who can coach Jamaican athletes are Jamaican coaches? Who would she return home to?
Yeah.
MVP, Racers, Sprint Tech, all of those clubs are filled already. I mean, you look at MVP, for example, you have the Clayton twins. You have
Right.
Serena Cole. You have Slowly, Shericka Jackson. You know, where she going to get space to come fit in it? At Glen Mills doesn't train very many women coaches, very many women athletes, and Sprint Tech. I'm not quite sure if Willa is going to be taking on anybody else, given his limitations as acting as principal of GC Foster and as head coach. I mean, I don't know if he's taking on anybody. I think Alana Reid needs to stay where she is and be patient, and we all need to be patient as well. And also understand that everybody who is a star as a junior is going to make transition to becoming a star.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah, the transition is not for everybody.
And she's still relatively young, and it's just last year she won the U20, right?
Yeah, she's just 20 years old. So
I imagine if you're asking about like Brianna Williams, which I still think John Smith should figure out at some point. What your thoughts?
I reached out to him the other day and he didn't respond to me, so I don't know if he wanted to talk about it. But I was puzzled with Brianna Williams, and here's why. 2 weeks before the national championships, Brianna runs a meet in California, and she runs 11:04, 11:03, and 22:06, all in the space of about 3 hours, which tells me that she was in great shape.
Right.
And so she wouldn't have started to tape until just over a week before the national championships. And she comes to the national championships and looks like she hasn't been running all year. I don't understand it. In fact, she hasn't run well since.
Right.
So I don't understand. I'm clueless. And I've been inclined to think I want to call and ask her. But I'm like, if she's not willing to talk about it, then that's fine. Because I'm not going to, I'm not this type of journalist who's going to force you to talk about something you don't want to talk about. So I just leave it as it. If they're willing to come to me with the information and say, okay, I'm willing to do this, that's fine. I'll do that. But I'm not.
Because I had high hopes for her and John Smith, because I was like, especially last year when he was, I think he was talking to you or somebody in Jamaica. But, you could see a sparkle in his eye, like he got back something that he missed for years, like he had a new project. And I'm like, I thought you would have done much better this season, but I guess
I sat with him at the AC Hotel and did an interview.
Yeah.
And I published a story where he said, Brianna came to me in March last year.
Yeah.
So he didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But he said, people think I can, I don't work miracles, but if you give me time, I can do great things. And based on what we saw for Brianna this year, he was on track, because if you run at a meet, just clearly a loading meet, 11:04 in the heat, 11:03 in the heat, 11:04 in the final, 22:69 I think it was in the 200. All of those numbers tell you that Brianna was in shape to run 10:9 or faster once she started to taper. And it just I don't know if she was intimidated by the atmosphere here, being back in Jamaica, where she didn't have many great experiences, and people had their things to say about her. Or in the heat with Tina Clayton, she felt Tina's speed and started to doubt herself again. I don't know what it was, but she just looked completely not like the athlete that we saw 2 weeks before. So I don't know. And I'm just hoping that she can get it together still. She's only 23 still, or just 24. So
I hope so too. I think she, we shouldn't write her off. People are quick to write her off. I think Cheryl is saying something about Liston too. I hope Brianna Liston gets to that next level too. I think talent-wise, over 1 and 2, she's probably much better than I've seen in a long time, But I don't know.
Liston is with Lance Brahman.
Yeah.
And Lance Brahman speaks for himself.
Yeah.
What he's done with Kishane, what he's done with
even Veronica, right? He had Veronica all those years ago.
Yeah, Veronica. So the issue with Brianna this time is that she's had injury issues that have had required special care, and based on what I'm told, that issue is being resolved. It's not. I don't think it's fully resolved, and so she's training. So we'll see what happens next year, because I don't know if she's going to be running for the remainder of the season. I don't think it will be wise. There's no point to it because World Championships are just, and the season ends at the World Championships as well.
Yeah.
So I think we'll probably see her come out next year, if she's healthy, come out next year and run. And I think we'll see Lance Brahma will make her, what we do know for certain is that he'll make her stronger and he'll make her sounder in terms of her physicality.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, Shaniki's a great coach. I mean, what we've seen her do with Brian Deville alone is I saw her do with Elaine last year. It speaks to, her quality as a coach. But I don't think necessarily that it means that Brianna Liston needs to come back and train with her.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Brianna will be fine if she gets healthy. I really think when that new crop of athletes were coming through, she was the best of the lot. I had more talent than the Clayton twins. A lot of people might think that's weird, but over the both distances, she's closer to Elaine than anything we've had since. Yeah,
man. She's a very talented athlete, but as we see in many cases, a lot of talented athletes are also very fragile athletes.
Yeah,
and I think that's the case with her. But I think here's the thing. I think Lance Brahman is a very deliberate man based on my experiences with him. And if he thought that he would not have been able to help her, he would not have taken her. So, let's see. Just give her some time. She's 20 years old. Let's see what happens in the next year. The great thing about it is that next year is for the first time in a long time, it's a non-championship year.
Yeah, well, so or that new championships that World Athletics has, but yeah.
Oh yeah, but
she won't get into that anyway, unless you.
Yeah. So she get a chance to race without any pressure on her, test herself, build her confidence, build her body, and then 27 again. World Championships, and then of course,
Yeah, LA, I think she should be in a cycle to get to LA, right? Those are the athletes
that's the plan. That's based on what I understand. That's the plan for her to race in LA 2020, if there is a LA 2028.
I don't know. I mean, they're spending a lot of money in 2028, and also I want to say about LA 28, it's gonna be the first time where they're gonna put the swimming in the SoFi too, on parts of SoFi. So we'll. Track will get swimming will get numbers similar to track, which is going to be interesting,
Yeah, I'm thinking about this $15,000 thing that you're planning.
Oh, you mean that? But I don't know. That's going to be a very interesting thing,
Yeah, and then ice people them all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. It's a wild time now, but I suspect that hopefully that's sorted out by then. But you never know, You never.
I don't know.
Well, Leighton,
if I was an athlete right now, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
No, but
for a long time. I said we've been running this for a long time. I don't want to keep you longer, So yeah.
No, man, I'm good. I can give you 10 minutes more.
10 minutes more. All right. So there's some questions here. Brian says, whatever happened to Kemba? Kemba was running. I don't.
Even Kemba was running championships. Yeah. She came 5th or 6th in the 100. Yeah. Kemba hasn't really made the leap forward since she left college. For whatever reason, I don't know why.
And I don't know what else is here. John is saying tired of people ignoring Tina. I don't think anybody's doing that, John. She'll be fine. I don't know if we missed anything.
Oh, there was a question before this one.
Which one is it?
It's something to do with Shericka. I think it was. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, there's a Shericka one. Let me see if I can find it. That one, yeah. Shericka Jackson running first leg.
Is that a new thing? It should be.
Yeah.
I think she's a better curve runner than everybody else that's possibly on the relay leg, and we saw that in London. She ran a pretty decent opening leg. Why not?
Right. How would you line it up though? Would you start with Shelly?
I start with Shericka.
You start with Shericka.
Shericka to
Shelly.
Probably Shelly to Tina. To Tia, or to Janelle, or to Tina. It all depends on who they select.
Right.
Because I think Tia would have to show fitness because remember she didn't finish
at
the national championships. So if she can come out somewhere around that 10-8 and thing, that she could probably
find a way into it, right?
Yeah. but Shericka on the first leg is not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Because
I think if they get the baton around safely, they should medal. I mean, it's going to be tough, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the US and Great Britain are stronger. But I think if we get to stick around, we should be able to be on the podium based on the speed that we've seen from them now.
Right.
So
Sherwood is asking thoughts on the gene test for women. That's complicated. I have some thoughts, but go ahead, Leighton, if you want to say.
The other thing with me on this thing, there's a concern about women who have higher than normal levels of testosterone. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a legitimate concern in the sense that if that's how you're born, that's how you're born.
Mm.
If it's not something that was artificially created, then I'm fine with it. What I have a problem with is the guys who think that they're girls, and
right.
That thing for me just don't make no sense. If you want to feel like a girl, sitting in a bathroom, I feel like a woman. Yeah, leave that alone. Then.
That can happen. Yeah, I think. That but if they want to run, they probably need a different one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the gene test is invasive.
Interesting.
I think there are people out there who are established as women.
Yeah.
There has been no doubt about their femininity. Why do you need to test them again?
Yeah. I think what happened with this World Athletics report and the kind of thing that they've been doing, because they've been toying with it in interesting. Toying is a strong word. Their thoughts on it are different, especially the DSD athletes, so the difference of sexual development. So I think they're worried about these athletes that go through puberty, and then you remember like when we had Mboma and all these athletes, and even Costa, they're like, okay, we can push them up a distance or drop them down. And it turns out that doesn't work in the end, That's what they're probably saying.
It never made sense to me.
It never made any sense, yeah.
Here's the thing with somebody that bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
They tested her,
Yeah.
Didn't they test her and determine that she was a woman?
Yeah.
Not she said, them said. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're changing the rules on her, which I think was unfair to her to begin with. Right. She might be, her choice of partner might be one thing, but that has nothing to do with her competition. Yeah. But World Athletics did run a batch of tests on her. I think it was after one of the Olympics or one of the World
I think it's after was it London or the one
London?
Before?
I think it was, And they tested her and them said, So all of a sudden they changed the rules. But I don't see. I mean, so you're going to test Shelly and Shericka and Julien and
Melissa, the logistics of it seems difficult, and it's supposed to be a cheek swab, and they'll do it. It's non-invasive, but it seems interesting. Yeah, who's going to do it? Where is these samples going to be held? I know they have a process for it, but it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those gray areas where I think, look, they need to be brave enough and make specific rules and say, okay, if this is the case, you can't be in here. Then this is the case, you can't be in here. When you're leaving too much areas, the gray areas, it then causes all of this confusion and all of this uncertainty about who is what. And it doesn't make no sense to me.
Right. All right. I think my producer wanted to show your video, but I don't know what exactly. I think you had was it your video? Okay, no. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I was going to show something, but I totally forgot about what we were going to do here. But since we're up against time, yeah. Well, Leighton, I think, this was fun. I don't know if it was fun for you.
No, but look, boss, I always enjoy with you at track and field because, when you talk to people who are objective-minded, the most annoying thing for me is people who think that every time you talk about track and field, you have to say the Jamaican athletes are going to win or the Jamaican athletes are going to win. I'm not into that conversation. I look at what the numbers tell me, and if the numbers tell me that somebody's going to win, that's who I'm going to go into. I'm not going to lean to a person because I'm I'm Jamaican or they're Jamaican.
Yeah.
I like the objectivity in the thing. We try to be as analytical as possible. Sometimes we get it wrong. Many times we get it wrong.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Predictions is hard to make,
Yeah,
but when you get them right, they're not giving you the credit. They come for you when you don't get them right.
Yeah,
but that's
because
part for the
when
court.
I said that Shelly was when I picked the top 3 for the Jamaican trials, people were like, and I'm like, but it is what it is. I mean, this is something I don't. If you've been following me long enough, you've known I've made specific predictions over the years that have been on point. When Alison Felix pulled up in 2013 in Moscow in the 200 final, I predicted that half an hour before the race. Usain Bolt ran 9:64 in London. Well, the flash time was 64. I called 63. It came out to 63. And I've called other things because you just follow the numbers. You follow the numbers and things follow the flow of the numbers. You will get it right more often than not. That's how I try.
No, that's how it works. And the thing I always say about track and field too, because I watch everything. It's a love, and we don't talk enough about a lot of other things. Like sometimes we focus on the big stuff, the sprints, the this, that. But there's so many great things happening in the sport of track and field. I encourage people to check out the discus is wild this year for men and women. The shot put is going in some different directions. Corrales the other day jumping 6:08 at his championships. That's something we haven't seen for a long time. So I think his ceiling is probably 6:15 or 6:11ish there. Yep. So he could be a guy not to push Mondo, but to be alongside Mondo. There's so many things in the sport.
Yeah, the thing with Mondo is the thing with Mondo, I think Mondo just waits for the right time for break the world record again, forget that $100,000.
Yeah, he's like I'm picking up $500,000 this year off of breaking world records.
Yeah. But Carlos is really good. I like him. I think.
I like him. I think you need more guys going 6 meters regularly, which is very difficult because talking about going back to Bukka or Lavinier or whatever. It's not easy, but I like where the sport is going in some of the distances. If I were to be critical, I don't like what's happening in men's long jump for a long period of time. I think it's 840 shouldn't be winning championships, and you gotta go up
remember there was a time when James Beckford jumped what
850 something, and
came third. And we when you saw. My Greek, whatever camera people, I'm getting old and I think my brain is.
Tengtoglu,
beat Wayne Pinnock at World Champions in 2023 with 850. What was it? 852.
Yeah.
So back in the day, probably
that's not getting anywhere. I do hope the spirit of 1991, the great long jump rivalry between Carl Lewis and Mike Powell will come back.
That was off the chain in ways I don't think people understood.
No, they don't get it. Yeah,
the man
things you've ever seen.
The man would jump out of the pit.
Yeah,
Mike Powell's last jump was literally right at the edge of the pit.
Yeah,
that's what.
And Lewis even in the process, like jumping a world record. I think one was win 80, if I remember. Yeah, it's like
The mine was crazy, but it was those were the days when the long jump was really exciting. It's not so much these days.
People asking for another collaboration again. Well, if you want me and Leighton to go live more often, you just say it. We'll get him live on his channel too at the same time. Yeah. But Leighton has really been good.
Always.
Yeah. You have a good rest of your evening. We'll talk offline, obviously, and we'll do this again soon. Yeah.
Gonna make the peace now on this.
Make sure to subscribe to Leighton's channel. This is new channel. Subscribe. Everybody that's on my channel, subscribe for sure. Support Leighton. His work is high quality, and we haven't talked about cricket yet and all the other stuff. So next time.
And my channel, the video that was put up last night was with Rex Pereira talking about West Indies cricket. So
I haven't seen it. It's on my thing to watch. Yeah. Oh, Rex. I tried to get Rex booked some years ago, and it was out on Amazon, and I still haven't gotten a chance to buy the one he has.
You mean this book?
Oh, you have? Yeah, Living the Dreams. Yeah. I think I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I just I had the Michael Manley book, the Hillary Beckles book on cricket, because I was just lamenting on this ridiculous thing. For the first time, you get a West Indies team that can knock 20 wickets, and I have the Fire in Babylon stuff.
You mean this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Reading all of them right now.
Yeah. It's really, I
Yes.
mean, you have to go back to that. I still think, obviously, the greatest cricket book ever written, or the greatest sport book for me ever is the CLR James book, Beyond the Boundary. I think
Yeah,
that should be like taught in school. It should be,
it
because people
should
don't
be.
understand what cricket means to the region, and it's not sport,
Yep.
it's beyond that, and it's really,
Yeah, it's culture, and of course, Cricket's Brightest Summer by L.D. Roberts. That was the first cricket book I ever read. About that Australia 60-61 tour.
Oh yeah, the tie test series too, right?
Yeah, the tie test
match
series. Yeah. So man, but reading is a if you can see.
Yeah. No, it is. Because I'm in this set of the studio, but on my other thing, I have about 300 sports books all over the place. Some at my work offices. I don't even know how I get through half of these things, but yeah. We'll catch up on this for sure. Maybe you got to start penning that book, Leighton. It's time to do an update on. I was looking at that Jamaica book. You gotta get a new book on the whole landscape of Jamaican sports. Now that Shelly's retired.
Yep, the end of a great era.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk soon, and we'll do this again, hopefully.
Yeah, man. Pleasure being on, and of course, good night to all the people who are on as well with the chat. So hope I was able to provide some context and some info.
All the time, Lane. This is fantastic, yeah.
All right, take it easy, guys.
All right,